Hey guys, subscribe for daily knife content. And if you're shopping for knives and gear, make sure you check out the description of the video you're watching right now for links to some great online retailers. There's also individual links for knives that I personally recommend. Thanks! What's going on YouTube? Metal Complex here, and today I've got another interesting knife review slash knife overview to share with you guys. This is the brand new Benchmade Mini Adamas, a knife that I described on Instagram as a knife that I never knew how much I needed. I was so excited to see that they shortened down the Adamas, but I had never thought that that would create such a great knife. This translates so well. I've got a lot to say. I'm really excited about this. First off, thank you to Benchmade for sending this in directly for review. Just want to be full disclosure here. This knife should be available right now. It should be in plentiful supply, so you can check the links down in the description. And I believe if it's not down there yet, it'll be available soon. The new full-size Adamas should also be available, at least in the very near future. So check links for that, and I'll also link Benchmade knives in general down there. Thanks so much to my generous patrons for supporting me right now. You can find a link for that down there as well. And please make sure to follow me on Instagram at metal_complex. Try to get through specs as quickly as possible because I've got a lot to say here. The overall length of the new Mini Adamas is coming in at exactly about 7.5, maybe a little bit more, 7.6 inches overall. Blade length is coming in at about 3 1/4, and the cutting edge is coming in at about 3 1/8. Let's go ahead and do some size comparisons up against the Ontario Rat Model 1 and the Ontario Rat Model 2. This is a robust knife that falls right in between those two. That's going to be very perfect for a lot of people. How about up against the Spyderco PM2 and Spyderco Para 3? Fairly similar situation. This is fairly close to the size of the PM2, but it definitely, the Para 3, but it does have a larger cutting edge. Definitely shorter than the PM2 though. And last but not least, some great size comparisons. The Benchmade Griptilian, or in this case the Ritter Hogue, and the Mini Griptilian. Again, this knife is definitely, I would still call it more robust than both, but it is kind of in between. You should do a size comparison up against the large Adamas. You're right. Let's go ahead and do that. That would be great. This is the older Adamas in D2. They have changed the steel, which I'm going to share with you guys here in a sec. The old Adamas, should we do pivot to pivot? People seem to tell me they really like the pivot to pivot. Size comparison's the best. Okay. The old Adamas is a chunky boy. This guy's coming in at almost 9 inches with like a 3.9 inch blade. So yeah, there you go. And then the thickness between the two, they've also, even though the Mini Adamas is definitely still robust, it's not quite as thick as this guy. Some people will like that, some people won't. But that's the nice thing is you'll be able to get the large size Adamas, so you get to pick your preference. Let's go ahead and do carry profile, speaking of thickness, up against the Spyderco Para 3. So this guy's definitely robust, but it's not insane. You can see there, we've got some chamfering, so you can see the true thickness there. It is definitely a little bit thicker. How about height and length up against the PM2 and Para 3? You can see here, it's actually about the same length as the Para 3 when it's closed. Nowhere near as long as the PM2 and nowhere near as tall. It's definitely going to be the thickness in this guy that's going to make, that's going to be the decision for, whether or not you carry it for a lot of people. But it's not that intense. Let's go ahead and measure blade stock thickness on this guy. About 140 thousandths. Let's go ahead and do that again, just to be sure. Yeah, we're coming in about 140 thousandths, so it should be pretty comparable to the Spyderco PM2. And yeah, it is. Maybe just a little bit. I think the PM2 is 145 thousandths. So what do we have for materials here? We have CPM crew wear on the blade, which we're going to talk about. We've got G10, and we have a steel liner. And as you can see there are holes milled out. Right? What are the holes for? I don't know. They're not really hurting anything, but they will actually help reduce weight just a little bit. Still a pretty robust knife. 4.59 ounces. That's pretty heavy considering the size of it, but if you're like me, that falls within a normal range for a carry knife. So I don't have a problem with it. Some people who like to carry smaller knives are not really going to be interested at that weight, but I think for the most part, this isn't going to be a difficult object to carry. It is somewhat thick, so if you wear fitted pants or tight pants, or if you wear athletic shorts, it might not be your favorite thing in the whole world, but wearing jeans, right? Yeah, no problem. This is definitely something that I actually kind of like knives that are smaller but still robust. I kind of like a mini tank, and that's definitely what this is, or that's the charm that it's giving off to me. Let's go ahead and do a hardware check. I'll get out my tools here. As per usual, my tools are very inexpensive and very recommendable. You can find them right down in the description. As is the case with most Benchmade knives, the pivot is going to be a T10, yes, and it will be captive because it's a D-shaped pivot barrel. And then the rest of these screws, including the pocket clip screws, are going to be T6. There are quite a few of them, so be careful. I mean, make sure you've got somewhere to put them. Make sure that you've got quality drivers so that you don't strip anything, because T6 can strip. And just fair warning, if you've never taken apart a Benchmade knife with the axis lock, it's not the funnest thing in the world, but it is definitely fully possible to get. I mean, I've done it. It's just not my favorite thing in the whole world. Anyways, let's go ahead and talk about this. So how cool that they decided to do a mini Adamas. Somebody who has what I consider myself as someone who has normal sized hands. I don't have huge hands. I don't have small hands. I wear an XL glove, and anybody who wears work gloves all the time knows that XL glove doesn't really mean anything. It means normal glove, right? So can I get a full purchase on this guy? Yes. You are definitely confined to the space between this little, it looks like a back, you know, the butt stop, I guess, and this space in here. But that space is comfortable, and you are definitely locked in. This knife is ready to be used hard. I would have no reservations using this knife. There is some jimping here, there's jimping here, there's jimping here, here, back here. It's all over the place, but it's not super aggressive. It'll actually be pretty comfortable to use over time. Ergonomic lines definitely lock you in. It's not an absolute A+, but because we've got heavy chamfering right here and some contouring on the scales, it's pretty darn comfortable. I'd give that a B+. What does that mean? What's your grading scale? I don't know. I just kind of shout letter grades in the moment and tell you guys exactly what I'm feeling. Versus the large one, the big guy is definitely thicker in hand and there's a little bit more real estate, right? But that's because it's bigger. It just is. This guy makes a little bit more sense day to day for me, honestly. I think this is a little more comfortable, and it's one of those things where every time I get it out, I'm like, God, that's cool. It's just cool. I just like it. The holes. Some people love the holes, some people don't. They're there. They're not really hurting anything. I guess you could say debris can get in the holes and then sit on the inside. That doesn't really hurt anything. Because that this is a large open pillar construction, you can simply take a rag through there and just clean it out, right? So you can take a stick and you can attach it to the stick using the holes, and then you can poke at fish when you're, when you're survivaling. I'm kidding. I don't really care that the holes are there, and honestly, the holes have just become part of the Adamas look to me. Without the holes, it almost looks like a different knife, right? So if they were hurting something, I might comment on that a little bit more, but they're not, so I'm not going to because I just don't care. This operates with the axis lock, and as you can see, it absolutely falls shut. This is beautiful. Very, very wonderful. They're actually quality all the way around in this guy, which I'm going to share with you here really soon, is just fantastic. I'm so happy to see just time after time more new models coming in from Benchmade this last year. I've just seen such a massive improvement in quality control. Little things like centering and even cutting edge bevels, right? Lock up and the, like no blade play. It's all been so much more consistent, and I'm so happy because I really do like Benchmade knives. I mean, you guys know one of my first ventures into the higher end of the knife world was actually years ago with a Benchmade Barrage, and so I'm really happy to see that with Benchmade. The axis lock functions just fine, easy deployment and release. The thumb stud is in a perfect position and is very comfortable, so it's very easy to deploy this knife or do the reverse flick or any of that. It's just fantastic. It's actually really satisfying. I love this blade. By the way, this is a Shane Seibert design. As you can see right there, Shane Seibert has done a lot of different things with Benchmade. I think you guys remember that big tanky looking dual action auto that he did a long time ago, the one that goes for hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of dollars on eBay, if not more than that right now. But anyways, his designs are always, I can kind of, he has the thin fuller and kind of the robust blades. I don't know. I've come to be able to fairly easily identify Shane Seibert knives, but yeah, they're always robust and tanky, but this is purposeful. We do have a pretty thick blade, and it definitely does not translate to a razor-thin cutting edge. This is not a lightsaber. But it definitely will cut. This, I believe, is some sort of tungsten. Now, I could get this wrong. I forgot to look this up before I started the review. I think it's some sort of tungsten-based coating. So if that is the case, it's going to be very hard and very tough. What is CPM Crewwear? Why do people seem to be so happy about CPM Crewwear? CPM Crewwear is pretty awesome stuff. Edge retention, I'm not going to get too scientific about it, but from what I understand, edge retention falls somewhere between CPM 154 and S30V, which is completely and totally acceptable. I love those steels. It is not a stainless steel, so that coating is helping with that. This is definitely, not something that I would put, like, it's not going to be like 154 cm, it's going to be less. But it is still more corrosion resistant than steels like CPM M4. Still less, though, than non-stainless steels that are approaching stainless like D2. So somewhere in that vicinity. Toughness, however, is off the charts. Crewwear is mega tough. Tougher than M4. Not quite as tough as CPM 3V, but definitely very tough. And here's the cool thing. It's also fairly easy to sharpen. This gives it some very well-rounded EDC attributes. That's kind of a little more in favor of toughness, right? So this thing can truly be beat on, and you don't have to, like with M4, it's like, yeah, you can beat on it, but when it comes time to sharpen it, you're gonna have to put some work into it. It's my understanding, Crewwear, not so much. Won't hold an edge as long, but if you're really gonna beat the crap out of it, and I mean really, you're gonna take a knife out and beat the crap out of it all day working on it, most blade steels will become dull. So at the end of the day, if it's easier to sharpen it, then great. But Crewwear is going to resist fracturing and chipping much better than a lot of steels out there. So I'm in huge favor of Benchmade using this steel, because in the past, everything they've done has been S30V or 20CV. S30V is fine. It's very well rounded. 20CV still seems to be the most popular thing of all time. Okay, but it's nice to see something different. You'll find very little negativity when it comes to Crewwear, and I'm really, really happy with that. Nice job, Benchmade. I'd love to see lots of stuff in Crewwear. I have been using, if you live in an area like me, right, like Kansas, this is Maximate. Maximate is also not stainless, not by a long shot. And worst, that I've seen is a little bit of a patina on a non-coated blade over a year and a half. Not that big of a deal. Just, I add a little bit of oil to it once every month or two, and it seems to be fine. If you live near the ocean, it's going to be a different story. So you kind of have to figure out, for yourself, geographically, is that going to work for me? I love how this coating looks. Oh my gosh, that is beautiful. It's like the exact same color as the background. Sorry. These come in, from what I've seen, OD green G10, tan G10, and black G10. And the blades come in a gray tungsten-based looking coating. That might actually just be the color is tungsten. So if I'm actually calling this a tungsten-based coating and I'm wrong, I'm sorry about that. That might just be the color. I've also seen it in a black coating and an FDE coating, which is super cool. I think the black with an FDE coating would look amazing, but I'm very happy with the one that they sent me. So that's fine. Benchmade logo right here. That looks great. On the other side, CPM Crewwear, Cybert, and then it says, mine says first production, but normally it's just going to say that. That's great. We don't have any websites. We don't have any weird numbers or anything like that. It just looks great. I love how the blade looks. The tip, definitely robust. You are not going to have to worry about jamming that tip into something and wiggling around right. This is Crewwear on a robust tip. Yeah, you're going to be good to go. I wouldn't jam this into something and use it as a diving board or a means to scale a building, but as far as pocket knives go, this is a robust geometry. You can go ahead and really beat on it. Cutting edge, it's sharp, but it's fairly thick, right? It's not like Medford thick. It's just not going to be a laser beam. This is going to be a tougher style knife, something that you're really going to use hard. So I think a more robust cutting geometry is something that is further accentuated by CPM Crewwear. Obviously, you can still cut with it. You can still slice. If you want to get into a package, you're going to be able to do it. But if you're going to go out and process a bunch of wood or really thick material for a long period of time, maybe you're actually going to do a little bit of impact cutting. a thicker geometry is going to be better for that. It just depends on your circumstance and what you're going to use it for. If you just want to EDC it, it's going to work fine for that as well. It's not going to slice like an open L, but you're not buying an open L, right? If you want an open L, buy an open L. Anyways, yeah, the thumb stud is just a little bit in the cutting path, not much. If your cuts are more like this, I think you're going to be fine. You're not too far from the cutting edge, so that's fine. It really, I can't tell you how solid this feels right here. Jimping's in the right place, feels good. Really happy with the blade. Really happy with it. It is so smooth. This runs on phosphor bronze washers, and I love how smooth Benchmade knives get with those. Oh man, it's just so satisfying. Pocket clip is excellent. It's the right pocket clip for this. I love this clip. I've never had an issue with it. Nice and deep carry, has the continuous rise, knocked down there at the bill, right? And it doesn't stick up too far. It can also be mounted for left-hand carry, which is excellent because this is an ambidextrous lock, which means people who are right or left-handed, or if you're a switch hitter, you can enjoy this, right? It's excellent. Don't have any issues with that. Pocket clip is not being, I'm sorry, the lanyard hole is not being prioritized over the clip, but a screw is. Okay, not that big of a deal, right? Standoffs, I'm fine with that. This is all the more the knife that's sticking up out of your pocket, so you're fine, right? This side looks much the same as the front, except it's the adjustment side, so we're good. Centering, perfect. Perfect centering. Lock up, perfect. Solid. God bless America. This is an awesome knife. I love this knife. This has been a joy to carry around with me. Every time I get it out, every time, I just got to look at it. Cool. Click it out. Man. If you like knives that are robust and feel meaty and feel capable, right? Whether or not this is actually translating to meaningful difference between, you know, this and the Rat 2, right? Both of them are going to cut. You can both use them pretty hard. Whether or not it actually translates to anything meaningful, I'm not going to be able to put my finger on that. But what I can tell you is this is a lot more fun. Yeah, man, it feels good. I feel like it's ready to be taken out and beat on. I very much enjoyed this. The action is just wonderful. The weight of that blade working with the axis lock and what I assume are Benchmade's much higher standards for quality and fit and finish. It's great. USA made knife. Benchmade has one of, if not the very best knife warranties in existence, right? Obviously, I'm trying to build up to the fact that, you know, well, the part of every Benchmade knife review that people wait to hear is, what do I think about the price? Benchmade's knives are expensive, generally considering the materials used, right, and the build equivalates to a higher price than what you normally see. But we have to remember all of those things, right? Now, you know, normally it was like they cost so much, and then their quality control, right? This was back over a year ago when I was seeing inconsistencies, right? Like, you're paying that much, the blade should be on center, it should be, you know, solid, the action should be good, you should have even cutting bevels on both sides, which this is definitely the case here. You can see we don't have any wonkiness, right? It's the same. Everything looks great. Fit and finish looks perfect on this guy. It functions exactly the way I want it to, right? My little nitpicks, it's got T6 screws, might be a little thick and heavy for some people, right? But it's exactly what it's supposed to be. That's a lot of what I judge these. Is it what it's supposed to be, right? I mean, it's not like I made it or I had a hand in making it, but what I assume it's supposed to be, is it accomplishing that? Yeah. And I think a lot of people loved the idea of a smaller Adamas, myself included. So what's the price on it? $212. Ooh, that's a lot of money, right? That price is much easier for me to swallow. Actually, it goes down quite smooth. That was a weird transition of dialogue, but I can't take it back now. Considering Benchmade's warranty, which has always been what it's been, it's great. Considering the massively difference quality that I'm experiencing here versus what I experienced over a year ago, right? And the fact that we're looking at crew wear now, I'm actually okay with that price. Would it have been great to see it at $20 less, right? Everything could always be about $20 less and make me $20 richer and happier, but it isn't. Can I recommend this knife at $212? Yeah. Yeah, all day. I think most people are going to have largely the same experience as me and the same reaction to it, right? If you like how the Adamas looks so a mini version is appealing just to get something that's a little more reasonable in the pocket versus the full-size monster, which is appealing and charming in its own way, right? Yeah, I think a lot of people are going to be happy with this. I think this is a good choice for a lot of people. Absolutely. Yeah, fully recommendable. This will be going in my most recommended knives playlist, as well as my Benchmade knives playlist. So you can check out the other ones that I've reviewed, but highly, highly recommendable. This thing puts a huge smile on my face, and I know it'll put a huge smile on yours as well. That's going to be it today, guys. Thanks again to Benchmade for sending this guy in. Please make sure to follow me on Instagram at metal_complex. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like. If you'd like to check out my other content, I do, of course, have lots of videos of knives that are either expensive or inexpensive that I do not like, so check those out. And if you enjoy all my content, go ahead and click on that Metal Complex logo right there and subscribe, because there's definitely more coming. Thanks again for watching, everybody, and have a great day.